I wanted to comment and analyze the CNBC Make It video about a 22-year-old who makes $194,000 as a software engineer at Google. And I know this video is going to inspire hundreds, if not thousands of people to become software engineers with the dream of making $194,000 at just 22 years old. But unfortunately, it's not going to be as easy as this video makes it seem. And in fact, they actually rebranded the title of their original YouTube video to Googler Living on $194,000. Because the original title for the YouTube video actually used to be 22-year-old earns $194,000, and I think they realized that they were clickbaiting way too many people, making it seem too easy.
I try to live as frugally as possible without compromising the quality of my life. My parents always really pushed me towards education as well as taught me about investing at a very young age, and I think this is what really pushed me towards trying to achieve financial freedom as soon as possible.
So right away you can hear that his parents are a really huge influence in how he budgets, spends his money. So I wonder if his parents also had a huge influence on what career and job he should take, as well as what he should be studying in college.
My name is Ethan Lindley. I'm 22 years old. I make around $194,000 per year as a software engineer at Google, living in Orange County, California.
Okay, so to be only 22 years old and basically making $200,000 in Orange County is pretty incredible. Like, if you wanted to design a marketing ad to convince people to become software engineers, you basically should just show them this video. You're probably watching this video, you're 20 seconds in, and you're thinking to yourself, wow, it's so easy to make $194,000 as soon as I graduate from college with a bachelor's degree at 22 years old. All I gotta do is study computer science and boom. Well, first of all, I want to point out as a recruiter in FANG that not all software engineers come out of school at 22 making nearly $200,000. You have to be working at some of the top tech companies. And spoiler alert, it's really hard to get a job at these top tech companies. And by hard, I mean you have a 0.67% chance of actually getting this job. And keep in mind, his compensation range is based in Orange County or Los Angeles. So if you worked in the Bay Area or you worked in New York, you'd make even more than this, probably around 5 to 10%. But also, if you lived in other places in the United States, like let's say you lived in the Midwest, you might be making around 5 to 10% less depending on your geography, because all these companies will be paying on cost of labor, not necessarily cost of living.
I was probably one of the only people I knew who was interested in stocks and stuff like this at my age. But as time grew on, more and more of my friends started to get into it. Their parents started teaching them about it in high school, college. It was a little bit scary at the start, but I think I really grew for it to become a passion of mine.
Wow, okay, so at 22 years old, he also owns 2 rental properties. So he's got both passive and active income. Very smart.
If I was able to graduate college, my undergrad, in 2 years, this would allow me to stay within that budget and not take on any additional debt.
Okay, even more impressive, he was able to finish college in 2 years. So at 20 years old, he had a bachelor's degree. This guy is super smart and really motivated. It's no surprise that Google will want to hire a high performer just like him. But here's the first thing that I want to point out, which is what makes this video seem like it's really easy to make this kind of money and to get this kind of job when it's not that accessible for everyone. Because first of all, not everyone is blessed and fortunate enough to be able to afford to go to college. Yes, his parents helped out and he also had to save and invest on his own, but college is still very expensive and is not accessible for everybody. Wonder where he did go to college though.
So what I did was I meticulously planned every single semester, and doing so, I was able to graduate college in 2 years from UC Berkeley with my bachelor's degree in computer science.
And also, UC Berkeley has one of the top computer science or software engineering programs in the nation. So it's a big feeder school into FANG companies like Google. So if you want to be 22 years old making nearly $200,000 working as a software engineer at Google, you also need to be able to get into one of the most difficult and prestigious UC schools in California. Pretty easy, right?
The biggest sacrifice I made was I was not really able to enjoy any of that traditional undergraduate experience. All in all, though, I would say that it was definitely worth it, as it was able to put my financial goals ahead and really get me started on a journey towards financial independence, and I would make the sacrifice again any day.
As with everything, there's pros and cons, and this is actually one of the big cons. He didn't truly have a genuine college experience because he had to rush through his entire undergraduate. So he didn't really get to experience a lot of the fun social aspects of going to college, but he's okay with that and he was willing to make that sacrifice, and that's the main thing, as long as you're living with no regrets. Okay, never mind. Even more impressive, he got his bachelor's degree at 19 years old. No wonder he got hired at Google. Oh, okay. So now this is all starting to make sense because I was wondering how he was making close to $200,000 at 22 with just a bachelor's degree. Because most recent college grads who have software engineering roles straight out of their bachelor's program only make around like 100 to maybe like 150 at the most at top tech companies. And he was $50,000 above that. And it makes sense because he also has a master's degree, which by the way is still super impressive because he got a bachelor's and a master's degree by 22 years old, which is when most people only get a bachelor's degree.
So I also ended up pursuing my master's degree because I felt that I had graduated college so soon and that I wanted to be able to really maximize my education and do the most that I could with my life. So I ended up doing my master's degree at Berkeley as well, and I did this.
Now, as a recruiter, I also want to point out here that this is a very traditional view on career progression and growth, which is that the more advanced degrees you get, the more master's degrees, PhDs, MBAs you get, the more certifications, the more degrees, the better your career will be and the better your career progression. Now, in my honest opinion, this is really only true for highly technical roles. Jobs like data science or AI and machine learning, hardware and silicon engineering. All these really technical jobs do require these additional degrees because there's no other way you can learn them. There's no boot camps you can take to actually get this experience. But for software engineers, you literally can just take boot camps without even having to go to college.
In 1 year while working full-time as a software engineer at Google.
Okay, so this guy got a master's degree while working full-time at Google in 1 year from UC Berkeley. Super impressive, right? And I think now the gravity and the reality should be setting in for everybody as to how this is an anomaly, because not many people can do this. So again, if you were watching this and you're thinking, wow, so easy, I'm gonna make $194,000 at 22 years old, all I gotta do is get into the top UC school in California. I gotta finish my bachelor's degree by 19. Then I need to get a master's degree while working at one of the top tech companies, which has a 0.67 acceptance rate. While working full time, I'm also gonna get a master's degree, at also UC Berkeley, which is one of the top engineering programs in the nation. You just have to do all of these things in order to make this kind of money. But by the way, any Asian parent would be so proud watching this video right now, and this is gonna be the poster ad that they're gonna make all their kids watch because he's gonna be their idol that they're gonna make all their kids strive to become. So this is one of the other really great benefits of working at top tech companies is they have really good perks. And one of the perks at Google is tuition reimbursement.
It has always been a lifelong dream for me to work for Google. If I could get into Google, my life would be complete. Eventually, I was able to make that dream come true. When I moved away from startup work into working at big tech, I felt like there was a lot more organization and a lot more structure, and additionally, the work-life balance was significantly better. This is why I personally feel that a big tech culture is more of a fit for me. I'd say the biggest perks I love about Google is that there's free lunch. Another major perk that Google employees are offered is something for personal development. Any personal development courses you take non-related to your job can be reimbursed up to 1/3 of the cost. And so I use these to reimburse the cost of my ping pong lessons and my language learning lessons. I would say through using perks at Google, I'm able to save close to $4,000 per year. I do budget to an extent where I have an idea of how much money I should be spending on each category per month. However, I don't set a strict numeric number, but instead I just...
This guy works at Google where he can get free breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day, but yet he still spends money on food? $363 a month? Come on, man, you're doing it wrong.
Make sure that I am being reasonable with my purchases, and this has worked very well for me. One thing that I really love to splurge on is travel. So I travel between 3 to 4 times per year, and this is one of those things that really helps me relax and reset from my work. And so even though travel can be expensive, it's definitely something I try to prioritize and make a budget for. I primarily eat takeout and I cook at home, but not often. A lot of my meals, though, I do eat at Google, so this is able to save me some part of my grocery bill each month. For transportation, I do drive.
I like how for this CNBC Make It video, one of the B-rolls of him eating is him cutting up a pre-made rotisserie chicken, probably from like Safeway or Whole Foods or something.
I have an electric car, so this saves me a lot of money on gas. However, my electric bill is a little bit high because I charge my car at home. So for the last month, my electricity bill was close to $200. So I do save and invest money each month. I would say a little bit over $1,000 into non-retirement accounts. And then into retirement accounts, I would say an average of $1,800 per month is invested from my paychecks.
Everybody should do that, by the way. You should definitely max out your 401k pre-tax every single year, especially if your company has 401k matching. If you almost did no other personal investing outside of your 401k and you just maxed it out every single year, by the time you do retire with compound interest, you probably will have over $1 million.
I actually keep very little liquid cash on hand. It's losing its value over time at an alarmingly fast rate. So accordingly, I like to put my money into investments that can grow over time and exceed the pace of inflation. My biggest financial mistake by far was over-leveraging into cryptocurrencies towards the end of 2021, where it had a very big crypto pump. In doing so, I was really investing money that I didn't have, and my losses were significantly amplified. So this mistake cost me upwards of around $80,000.
He lost $80,000 on crypto. Wow. Good thing he's got a really high paying job that pays him $194,000 a year. And this is one of the advantages of working in tech and having high income, is that you can actually afford to take these risks and not be in a financial burden.
I still believe in cryptocurrencies as a whole. However, I do think that a lot of these altcoins can be very risky, and I avoid putting any money into
Such a
them
cute
now.
dog.
As my net worth and investment portfolio has grown, my risk tolerance has definitely decreased quite a lot. I invest fairly cautiously now. I invest mainly in ETFs and real estate, and these have worked very well for me over the past couple years. I own 2 properties, one investment property that I have in Florida and my current primary residence that I live in right now.
Okay, just owning a house in California is such a big flex because houses here are so expensive. Only 18% of people in California can actually afford to own and buy a house. So this is super impressive, and he's clearly been budgeting and investing appropriately.
My current goal is to retire at 35 years old. This may seem like a very young.
So if he wants to retire at 35, this already tells me that he actually doesn't like his job. So yes, he makes good money as a software engineer, but he's not really happy. If he was happy, he wouldn't be trying to quit his job in the next 10 years. And that's okay, because not everybody needs to like their job. And for him, his job is just a means to an end. It's just to fund him for his dream to probably just do something else.
Age for a lot of people, and it is, but for myself, I really want to have more time freedom and the ability to pursue the passions and hobbies that I really want to do with my life.
Okay, so here are the key takeaways. Basically, just don't watch this video or look at the thumbnail and be like, wow, I'm just gonna become a software engineer and make $200,000 at 22 years old. Super easy. It's really not. This is honestly what happened during COVID, because everyone found out that all these software engineers are making so much money and they get to work from home and they have all these great perks and benefits, and all the software engineering and coding boot camps boomed. But the reality is that not everyone gets to make this kind of money, and not everyone gets to get these types of jobs at these top tech companies. Ethan worked super hard, and he's obviously brilliant because he got into UC Berkeley, one of the top engineering programs. He finished his bachelor's degree at 19 years old, which means he probably took a bunch of AP courses while he was still in high school, and obviously passed all those classes to get all those credits. And he got a master's degree also at UC Berkeley while working full-time at Google. And he had to sacrifice his whole social life during college in order to achieve this. And it's super impressive, and it's no surprise that Google hired someone like him. And honestly, this is pretty common for the type of people that Google tends to hire. And Google's a great company, and that's why they pay $194,000 to people just like Ethan. And not every software engineer makes this kind of money, by the way. So you have to work at some of the top tech companies even to make close to this amount of money. And because he did give his full name on the video, you can actually look up Ethan's LinkedIn profile, and super impressive. And I do want to point out though that he didn't immediately get a job right away at Google, because you can see because he graduated with his bachelor's degree super early, he didn't get the job there at Google. He started at Blissway, and then he worked at Qualtrics. Then he got a job at Google. So you could even see that for someone as a high performer like him, who graduated at 19 with a bachelor's degree at one of the top engineering programs, he still didn't get into Google right away. He worked at a startup, and then he went to Qualtrics, which is a slightly bigger company, and then he got a job at Google. So even right away, the video paints a false reality that if you go to Berkeley, you are a high performer, you get your bachelor's degree in like 1 or 2 years, then you get a job at Google. No, not even for Ethan. He had to start working at a startup, which he definitely was not making $194,000 a year. Okay, so I hope me analyzing and breaking down this video was helpful for you as you're trying to plan out your career and figure out if you should become a software engineer, and if it really is that easy to make $200,000 at just 22 years old. And if you want help figuring out what your dream career is or what it is that you want to get out of your job, sign up for a free strategy session at my website, CareerShakers.com, and we can talk about what it would take for you to achieve a job like this or what it would take for you to achieve your career goals. Thank you all for watching, and don't be afraid to shake things up.